A candidate deep dive on Craig Albernaz, what to do with Heliot Ramos, and player profiles are back. Today, it's Jhonny Level. That's all coming up on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. My name is Alan Stiles. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show at Sacktown Sports 1140, the Alan Stiles Show, 10 a.m., 2 p.m. Be sure to check that out, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercats games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we have a deep dive on manager candidate Craig Albernaz, what to do with Heliot Ramos, and a player profile on top prospect Jhonny Level. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Really excited to break down Craig Albernaz. We've been talking so much about Nick Hundley, and I know some people I can see in the comments and on social media. Be sure to follow me at _South Files with an I. Not happy about what I had to say as far as Buster hiring somebody that he called his best friend, and I just wanted to address that quickly. This was just me essentially being devil's advocate. I'm not taking anything away from Nick Hundley as a candidate. I'm not taking anything away from Nick Hundley as a baseball mind. I just thought it was something that should have been talked about a little bit more, and that's what we're going to do Monday through Friday on Locked On Giants. All right. Let's discuss why Craig Albernaz should be the Giants manager, and also some reasons why he might not be the best pick. Listen, this is one of those hires where the fit matters as much as the resume. Craig Albernaz isn't flashy, not necessarily a headline-grabbing name. He's not a proven big league manager with playoff rings. What he brings is something that the Giants desperately need after a chaotic season: credibility with pitchers, an eye for player development, daily energy, and the ability to translate front office direction into clubhouse routine. I'll walk through his background, what he actually did while under Gabe Kapler and beyond, and why those skills matter for San Francisco right now, the risks of hiring him, and how the front office could structure the bench around him to maximize success. So who is Craig Albernaz? Albernaz is a familiar profile in big league circles, longtime coach, strong communicator, and a player development lifer. He spent years in the minors, then served as the Giants bullpen and catching coach on Gabe Kapler's staff. He's known for hands-on work with pitchers and catchers, the nexus of game planning and in-game execution for being a bridge between analytic teams and players on the field. That combination is rare, man. Not every coach can digest modern pitch design and then calmly explain it in plain language to a veteran reliever about to enter a high-leverage inning. What he actually did now, the work, not the title. People love to reduce coaches, and I would say people in general, jobs in general, to bullet points on LinkedIn. Don't do that here. As bullpen and catching coach, Albernaz's day-to-day wasn't ceremonial. It was tactical. It was developmental. He worked with catchers on game calling, framing, helped craft bullpen roles and matchups, and ran the bullpen's routines. Who throws when, how relievers build up during multi-day series, and how to manage workload in late innings. He's also been a constant in the minor league chain, which means he knows the prospects, their mechanics, and how to accelerate development without burning arms. We talk about the guys like Hayden Birdsong, right, and other young arms that we want to see take that next step. Bringing in somebody like Craig Albernaz could help do that. Under Kapler, he was part of an analytically integrated staff that pushed new ways to prepare pitchers and manage relief outings. Maybe too analytically focused. That's what a lot of people would say. But I do feel like Craig Albernaz can find that balance. That experience is critical given Buster Posey's stated desire for a manager who can blend data with human leadership. Albernaz isn't a data skeptic. He's someone who has operationalized analytics into catcher strategy and reliever usage. Why that skill set fits and is honestly perfect for the Giants' immediate needs: pitcher trust, right? He's worked with arms across levels and has credibility to tell a young starter when to push and a veteran reliever when to change the approach. That credibility is vital in a season where the bullpen collapsed in critical moments. Catcher, and plate game expertise. With Patrick Bailey and other catchers, you need a manager who understands how pitch sequencing and framing interact with ABS and those changes that are coming. Albernaz's catching background gives him a very nuanced view. Player development pipeline. The Giants have a few studs and many near major league arms, or maybe arms that have been in the majors, and we're just trying to get them to the next level and the next step. Albernaz knows how to ease pitchers into MLB workloads, which could limit the injury risk that plagues several arms in 2025. So Posey wants a manager who can execute the front office's vision. Albernaz has shown he can take analytic direction and make it something a clubhouse buys into, not just a slide decks. Let's talk about the cultural side and the cultural argument, because this is an important one. After firing Bob Melvin, Posey seems intent on a different voice. Albernaz offers continuity. He's been around the clubhouse. He knows the system, but not a return to the old guard. He's young enough to be a long-term voice and has credibility among players who buy into development. He could preserve the best of what the team has, a solid clubhouse, veteran leaders, while pushing accountability and clearer role definition. The continuity also eases a potentially awkward transition between front office and manager. Posey's involvement in the process is highly visible. Hiring someone who already understands how Posey thinks reduces that friction. That doesn't mean Albernaz will be Posey's puppet or anything like that, because we don't want that, but it means fewer philosophical mismatches out of the gate. Again, let's talk about Gabe Kapler and really what we can all learn from that situation. There are some risks and counter arguments. No manager track record. Albernaz hasn't run a big league clubhouse as the top decision maker. Managing in-game decisions, lineup construction, and the media cycle at the manager level is a different level of stress that comes then being a position coach. Perception of an inside hire. Fans sometimes view an internal hire as safe or timid. The message could read, Posey picked his pal, which is funny because that's what I had said yesterday. That could be a PR problem if they don't win quickly. Handling egos and veteran buy-in. Some veteran players prefer a manager with a longer resume. Albernaz would have to show immediate command with high payroll veterans and integrate himself quickly. So those are some of the, hopes and dreams if you hire Craig Albernaz. And on the other side, some of the issues that the Giants may come across. I don't think the issues are a big deal. If you're hiring someone that hasn't been a manager before, all those things could be true. And going back to the conversation of Nick Hundley, Buster Posey knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of connections. That's just kind of part of the gig. This won't be an overnight transformation. Success in year one would look like a quick version, I would say, of what we would want to see from other teams, right? If you can turn it around quickly, it happens from time to time, but it doesn't always happen. But we would have short-term goals, clearer bullpen roles, fewer multi-run late inning collapses, measurable improvement in the young starters. That is huge. That is my number one thing. Those innings, that command, buying into that clubhouse, the pitching and defense identity. I think Craig Albernaz could be the perfect person for that. He is a logical bet, but just like anything else, he is a bet. And that's the reality. He is a bet, a logical bet, but a bet just the same. And anybody's a bet, even if you hire someone who's been a manager. So that's all part of it. So now that Skip Schumacher is gone, I like the idea of Craig Albernaz. I feel like what he's bringing to the table is something that the Giants could also use. Right now, he's with the Cleveland Guardians, and they turned it around quickly out there with Stephen Vogt and the crew, and that's playoff baseball, and that's what we want. We want something to happen quickly. So those are my thought points, my deep dive on Craig Albernaz, and he's pretty high on my list. And not that I dislike anybody, and we know Nick Hundley is the front runner. My other question with Nick Hundley is every day that we don't hear something, did we look at that as Nick Hundley possibly saying no, or is this a running conversation with his family and his wife? I'm not sure, but I think there are so many good candidates that Buster Posey can choose from right now. On the other side, is Heliot Ramos a candidate to end that Barry Bonds left field streak? What should the Giants do with the hot-hitting Heliot Ramos? Don't move. More Locked On Giants coming up. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Go Long. That's exactly where Rougiette's Go Long comes in. This isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula. So you can get hard and go the distance, fellas. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day and all night, even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment shipped discreetly right to your door. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. For our second segment, we are discussing what in the world to do with Heliot Ramos. Heliot Ramos has gone from a once hyped prospect to one of the bigger question marks on the Giants roster, and now San Francisco faces a crossroads. After years of waiting for his breakout, and I would say he didn't get a ton of opportunities early, Ramos finally showed flashes of the talent that made him a first-round pick back in 2017. But with the front office reshaping its identity around pitching and defense and youth development, his future is anything but guaranteed. In 2024, Ramos took that huge step forward offensively. He slashed 262, 326, 465 with 19 homers and an OPS plus around 115, meaning he was slightly above league average at the plate, finally giving the Giants some right-handed pop. He also cut down on some of the swing and miss that plagued him early in his career. Those strikeouts still remained and remains a part of his game. And honestly, the whole Giants, the whole lineup of the Giants, it remains a part of their game. Defensively, Ramos has struggled. And that's putting it nicely. Ramos has struggled. The Giants have gone through this process where it's been a different left fielder ever since Barry Bonds left. I do think both those things will be over now, as you have Willie Adames ending the 30 home run streak. And I believe that Heliot Ramos will be the left fielder, but you never know, because here are the options. Keep him and commit to playing time. If the Giants believe his 2024 surge was real, they can make him a fixture in left or right field and let him grow. With constant ABs, Ramos could realistically develop into a 25 homer guy, middle of the order bat. He had 21, I believe, this past season, which was really nice to see. You could also trade him while his value is high. Other teams are looking for controllable bats, and they might view Ramos as a buy low upside piece. If the Giants want to strengthen their rotation or bullpen depth, something Buster Posey has made clear, a huge priority, Ramos could headline a deal like that. And last but not least, you could lessen his workload, use him more in a platoon role, given his splits stronger against lefties. The Giants might pair him with a complementary left-handed bat and maximize production without overexposing him. Let me just say right now that I have all these things broken down for you. I do not want to do that. These are options, but I do not want to do that at all. I'm more old school. If you've been watching and listening to the show, I appreciate it, but I cannot stand the platoon stuff. I really can't. Ultimately, Ramos's future depends on whether the front office views him as a part of the core and the currency that they are trying to build. He's still just 25 years old, which I think a lot of people forget, with tools that haven't fully peaked. But for the first time in years, the Giants must decide if Heliot Ramos is a foundation piece or a trade chip to find the next one. And I don't want to do it. I think it's a great story. The issue is the Giants have too many guys that are stuck in just one or two positions. I hate to bring up the Smurfs. I hate to bring up the Dodgers, but they were pioneers. With the Kike Hernandezes, the Chris Taylors, they were pioneers. And the Giants have too many guys that only play one position, two position. That's why you look at Christian Koss and you look at Casey Schmidt, and they're just in the infield right now. But those guys are so valuable because you can move them around a little bit, because then you have a Rafi Devers who they've already moved to first base, Chapman who he's at third, we know, and your Willie Adames, your infield is set. But that outfield, it's really difficult. And I think that Ramos right now, the struggle is figuring out whether or not he is simply going to be a tweener, right? If he's a tweener and how he projects right now, even though he's only 25, because in baseball, it's a little bit different. Once you've kind of been around the block a little bit, everybody feels like they know who you're going to be. I mean, he's strong as heck. I guess he could get stronger, but he's already strong as heck. I've said, do you, and this would be another option that I would add, do you have a conversation with him and you say, look, on this team right now, we feel like we have enough, I guess you could say, table setters. And he already hit 21 home runs, right? 21 home runs. And I don't think that his launch angle is as ridiculous as it could be. And that's why his average has been very, very solid. Not saying you have to do this, but because he doesn't steal bases, he had 6 last season. He only stole 6 bases. So he's getting on first base with a single, great. And we know, and like I said, I'm more old school. I like singles. I like batting averages, but you just kind of suck at first base. So do you have a conversation with him saying, we want to put you in a box, right? Because he's not in a box right now. He's just a hitter and he's not that great of a fielder. So instead of just being a knock getter that doesn't have enough plus speed to steal bases, we are going to sacrifice, I don't know, and I know Will Clark would hate this, but we are going to sacrifice about 15 points of your batting average, and hopefully you will get to 25, maybe even 30 home runs. That's what we think we want to do with you, and that's what we think is the approach to kind of give you a not a purpose, I should say, but give you a lane to be in. Our power hitting right fielder that does have good speed, or excuse me, left fielder that does have good speed from the right side, but you know, you're not a negative on the base path, and maybe there's a conversation about stealing more bases. Right? He's not a burner, but with these new rules and you can only pick off so many times, maybe they also say on the other side, hey, okay, if you are going to be this and 20 home runs and hit, between 260 and 280, we need you to get to 10 bags a year, right? We need you to stretch it out, get to 15. If you get thrown out, you get thrown out, but we want to work with you there. They have to decide, and that's kind of the nuance within keeping him. I don't want to platoon him. I'd rather trade him, see what you can get because his value is really high right now. I'm okay with keeping him, but you have to find a lane. You have to find a lane. This Giants team and this Giants lineup, it's not good enough. It's simply not good enough to not have a lane in that way, or to have hitters that don't have a lane like that. I think that's a situation that they're going to have to address and ensure that they figure out going into 2026. Your lineup doesn't have to be a bunch of big boppers, does not have to be, the 1990s Yankees or anything like that. It just has to make sense. And every single person in that lineup has to make sense and has to give a purpose. And the Giants lineup right now doesn't do that. And Heliot Ramos is kind of a part of it. He's just getting hits. I think there's 2 guys that they're younger in their career, so that's where it is right now. And it's Heliot Ramos and, to a lesser degree, Casey Schmidt. Both of those guys, to me, have been in a position where, hey, let's just see if you can hit major league pitching. Now that they've proven that they can hit major league pitching, now the question becomes, okay, now we need to find a lane for you and where all of that is going to live. And Casey Schmidt, I think, gets another year. He gets the year that Heliot Ramos just got, where it's, hey, we're just trying to confirm that you're going to be our guy moving forward. Heliot Ramos is past that. You can hit major league pitching. Now we have to decide, do you have a role for us on the team? Those are the things that they're trying to figure out. On the other side, we're talking about the present. Now let's take a look at the future. It's been a while, and everybody keeps reaching out to me. Alan, we need another player profile. You asked for it, you got it. Jhonny Level, number 4 prospect in the Giants farm system right now. So don't move. We're breaking through and talking about switch hitting Jhonny Level when we return. More Locked On Giants coming up. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, All fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. Fees are included. Know your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time today. Ask and you shall receive. It is time to talk about the switch hitting spark plug shortstop that is the number 4 prospect out of Venezuela in the Giants system. Jhonny Level is one of the more intriguing young bats in the Giants farm system. Light in stature, 5'10". I think he's in the 150s. On MLB.com, 154, 5'10", 154, 18 years old, okay? Big in potential, even though he might be light in stature. Signed out of Venezuela for just a shade under $1 million. Level drew early comparisons to compact, high-energy shortstops like Rafael Furcal, and I love to hear that. He already has a reputation for combining bat speed, plate feel, and a switch hitting approach, a rare weapon at his age. In 2025, Level's production has backed up the buzz. In the Arizona Complex League, he's put up some gaudy numbers, 293. He's slashing 293, 384, 537 with 7 home runs, and he's not even 160 pounds, showing he can swing for power without giving up contact. In one standout game, he blasted 2 homers in 4 at-bats. And by the way, I was grinding some film on Jhonny Level before I did this show. He doesn't look that scrawny, if you will. The dude's got some swag to him as well, and he can swing the bat. When the Giants promoted him to low A San Jose, he did not cool off. In his early games there, he's shown plate discipline in just a few strikeouts that we've seen, extra base pop and base running aggression. He's also gotten some recognition in organizational rankings. The McCovey Chronicles moved him from number 38 to number 6 in the Giants system, and Baseball America currently lists him among the, like I said, top 5 Giants prospects. He's number 4 on that list. So his tool profile, hit and contact, his swing is compact and quick. His feel for the barrel is advanced, power still developing, but scouts believe he could grow into a 15-20 home run potential type guy. Speed and athleticism, he uses his legs well, plus speed is part of his profile, and he's already been a base stealer. I love to hear this. Are you hearing this with me, people? This is why we love the player profiles. All these guys are going to hit. They're all going to be all-stars, and we're all going to walk away with a ton more World Series. That's the world that we're going to live in for today. Defense and arm, he has the arm and actions to stay at shortstop currently, though some projection bumps suggest he might eventually shift somewhere else if the arm and foot speed decline a little bit. Here are the risks and challenges. He's obviously still very young and developing. His muscle mass, physical growth could shift his profile. Power growth is not assured. Balancing contact and launching is a tough skill to refine. The jump each level gets tougher. How he adjusts to more advanced pitching will be critical. Organizational depth and promotion timing. The Giants have a crowded pipeline, which is awesome. Good to hear. Good problems, champagne problems. Now we need some of them to actually pan out this go round. So his progress may depend on opportunity more than performance. What this could mean for the Giants, if Level continues on this trajectory, he has the chance to become a high leverage middle infield piece. A switch hitting shortstop with defensive flexibility and emerging offensive skills is exactly the kind of cornerstone that you build around. Even if his ultimate path lands him at second base or an alternative infield spot, his bat speed, instincts, and athleticism make him a valuable asset. For fans, he's a name to watch, one of the younger pieces that could define the San Francisco core in the late 2020s. So here's the thing about all of these guys when we talk about it. Look, we want them to hit, right? Obviously, we want them to be successful and to make it. There's also something that is, I guess, the elephant in the room. If the Giants need somebody, and if the Giants are trying, this current Giants team is trying to get something done, these guys performing well still helps a lot. Because if the Giants, let's say they didn't completely wet the bed this past season, they get Devers, they're continuing to rock and roll, and they're just looking for one more piece in the rotation. I'm not saying to trade Jhonny Level specifically. I'm saying all these guys performing at a high clip is great for the Giants, because that's going to give more options when you're going to look to go grab one of those arms, or to go grab, hey, we're done. Maybe next season they try the right field thing and Drew Gilbert is busy biting jerseys and isn't able to figure out the hitting approach. Encarnacion, McCray, none of them are working out. You know what? We can't do it. We got to go get somebody. You want to go get a right fielder. You want to go trade for him. And you say, hey, look at our list. And somebody commented yesterday, hey, the manager search is cool. What about the farm system? Well, the farm system continues to climb up. That's all it continues to do. 10 spots in about 4 months, right? These guys are starting to show who they are and who they could be. So if you get to that point and it's, hey, we need somebody right now, take a look. Take your pick. Look at our prospect list. You have your untouchables on that list, but you do have guys, right? These are 2 international prospects that's separate to Jhonny Level that are also coming down the pipeline. All these guys aren't going to pan out, but if they're performing well, teams will say, all right, give me one of your top 10 guys and give me a top 30 guy, and we can get it done. And here's a player that's ready right now. Not to move Christian Koss, but here is a Christian Koss just to kind of give you somebody that's MLB ready who can help you and help your lineup right now, or a pitcher, whatever the deal tends to be. This is how it works. This is what the Smurfs, what the Dodgers have done. They've had so many prospects that they've flipped into win now pieces. And as long as these guys keep performing and producing at this level, it can continue. Thank you for listening to Locked on Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @Styles Files, Styles with an I, also the Locked on Giants account. We will be back tomorrow. Thank you for making Locked on your first listen every single day. Locked on Giants, your first listen every single day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked on MLB Game Night. Every game, every night until the World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked on MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.